Yeah, this is the question. Because like when he's doing this tune, he's he's got it offset, right? He's going like on this side he's going,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but then on this side he's here.
Right, 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 right.
Is that right?
That's right.
Because it doesn't seem like that works as well in the Steezo tune.
It may not work well on a Steezo tune, but the way beatbox is structured with those those like little riffs, it works.
Yeah.
You can come up with a root move and it worked great on Nobody Beats the Biz. It doesn't necessarily mean, in this case, the swing pattern is the root move I'm talking about. Just because it works on Nobody Beats the Biz and it sounds great doesn't necessarily mean it's going to sound as good on Art of Noise Beatbox. It may be applicable, but it may not sound as good or as funky or whatever. You have to always be aware to not force patterns on every single song. Like, try different root moves on a variety of songs, but be aware of what sounds good and what doesn't. Some students I teach them a pattern, and then they start doing that pattern on every song that they grab. They do the pattern, and then that pattern is featured in that song that they created a routine on. And then they pick up a new song and then take that same pattern and mash it into that song. And then the third song that they're working on a month later features that same pattern that they learned 3-4 months ago. And my thing to students like that, I always tell them, like, all right, I'm kind of getting tired of hearing the pattern over and over again. Like, you're wearing it out. And the pattern, it's losing its impact the more you use it. So what I like to tell my students is to treat each song like its own individual piece of art and adapt to that song. So by all means, try a pattern that you know on it, but don't just settle for the first pattern you do as a part of the routine. Like, apply that pattern, fuck with it, to just get you to loosen up and see where you could take different sounds. But don't just, like, force a pattern onto a song because you know it works. Because that's not the point of this. The point of this is to discover new patterns with each song that you flip, you know, and opposed to just following like a system of moves, because then your routines get predictable. Like, oh, I already see what's coming. He's going to do a fill here, and then he's going to do an offset and into a snare pattern, because the other previous routine had that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
You're doing Shortcut's chase pattern, which is fucking dope, because we never even had that lesson. You taught yourself that from the tutorial, was it, that I sent you from my swing pattern?
Yeah, it was that, like it was the tutorial, and then you had the 3 videos that you sent with it. Right. So I tried like to learn at least, you know, the main patterns that were in each one.
Right.
So that was kind of just one of the 3.
So you learned to chase. Read all about right?
Mm-hmm.
What I want to teach you now is a chase with a quarter note fill. All right? Here's what that looks and sounds like. to read all about. Make sense?
I think you're going immediately back before you. I don't know how to say it, but
here's the thing: you're going back to the right regardless. It's what you do after you go back. In this case, when you're trying to land the cordinal fill, that's different from what you do when you go back to the right when you're just landing straight chase patterns. When you're landing a straight chase, you're dropping both right and left turntables on 16th notes, right?
Yeah, it's like
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But when you're doing a chase with a cordinal fill, when you swap back to the right side, instead of releasing it on a 16th note, what you're going to do now is you swap the fader to the right, grab the snare, and then you got to do a fill on a quarter note, then release it on a 16th. So if you're doing the chase without a fill, it's a 16th note release. That's it. If you're doing the chase pattern with the fill, it's a quarter note fill, then a 16th note release. So you're doing this.
Right, yeah, because there's only one spot for that to go.
Exactly. Whereas if you were doing the chase without the fill, it'd be right? Now you're doing it with the fill. Right. Now, here's the cool thing about the chase with the fill. Earlier, when we first jumped on Skype and we were setting up, you were referencing how now that you've learned a swing pattern, you're realizing all of the different things all of the different hand movements that go into executing the swing pattern. Like you were like, oh, yo, there's a breakdown and then there's a fill. And it's just interesting now that like, I'm not just focusing on one move. Like I'm doing multiple moves to execute that one pattern, that one root move. The chase with the fill is two root moves combined together. That's all it is. When I'm giving you that fill, I'm actually executing the first step, or I'm sorry, it's not the first step, the second step in the Rock the Bells pattern. Remember? Yeah, the crossover. Exactly. Remember when I taught you the Rock the Bells pattern and I asked you to do level 1 like this? When I swap to the left, that's a 16th note drop. That's a 16th note drop on the left turntable, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So already you see the similarities with the chase pattern. However, what I'm doing to fill the right turntable is the second level of the Rock the Bells pattern. So that's that second level when I'm asking you to take your left hand, cross over with the fader to the right. But instead of just dropping the snare on a 16th note to start the chase, I fill it. You know, in crossing over, I'm filling it, and then I come back on a 16th note. So after the fill,
and then it's back to
the chase.
It's the same, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So conceptually, I'm not surprised that you get this. Like, you've been incredible at being able to re-explain and summarize the techniques that I've been teaching you over the course of the last 4.5 hours. Like, you've been awesome at that. Physically, it's going to probably be challenging. Again, you might prove me wrong, as you've been proving me wrong for all this time. But I say it might be challenging for you physically because getting your brain Now to alternate between two root moves within one pattern could be weird. So starting off with the second level of the Rock the Bells pattern, then alternating or transitioning into the chase, and then going back to the Rock the Bells second level, and then the chase, and then Rock the Bells second level, and then the chase. That's where it gets a little weird, because your brain's going to be like, man, I just want to do one. Either we're going to do the Rock the Bells pattern, or we're going to do the chase. Okay? So, if you could just do this first. If you could just do that first, and then we'll ease you into transitioning into the chase part of the pattern.
Okay, so.
Right. Now that was good. Yo, Grant, that was really good. That was awesome, actually. Just try to look at the side that you're feeling. In this case, you're feeling the right. Just now, it looked to me as if you were just looking straight down at the mixer.
Yeah, I think I was looking at the fader.
Yeah. So trust that your left hand knows where the fader is. You've been grabbing the fader for how many years from left to right? I'm sure your left hand knows what the distance is it needs to cover. Look at your record hand when you try to.
All right.
Right. All right, stop. That was good. Now, can we alternate or transition into the chase from there? So can you do this? See, now I'm starting the chase pattern from the snare. You see how that works?
Yeah, right.
Give that a shot. Yeah. You gotta pull that left one back earlier.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Yo.
Oh.
Yo, Grant, dude. All right, so how much time has passed? We jumped on Skype about 25 minutes ago, dude. And already you're doing the chase with the quarter note fill. And I'm seriously like jaw on the floor right now, dude. Like first take, like it wasn't perfect, but you got through from beginning to end. I mean, it's taken me an hour to teach the chase pattern. In 25 minutes, you learned the chase pattern with the fill without training with me on the chase. That's fucking good, man. Something that I noticed that was really interesting. You started off and your head was like fucking just on a. It looked like it was just on cement. Like it was not moving. Like your head was fixed and you were looking directly at the mixer. And then like midway through the chase, you started to actually like turn your head more and isolate where you were putting the marks. Do you feel that helped at all?
Yeah, well, I could hear myself losing the hits.
Because why? Why do you think that was?
I think, at least on the right side, which is, the one I'm focused more on right now, I'm not pulling it back enough.
What did turning your head allow you to do to fix that?
when I hit the fill, I can see where it was, so I can pull back to that exact spot.
Exactly.
Right.
So when you hit the fill on the right, you see where the mark is. So then if you turn your head to the left, you're like, oh, okay, I just got to put the mark exactly where I saw it on the right turntable on the left. And that's why it's important to be able to like switch your attention from the right turntable to the left. You're not the first student that I've seen try to juggle by just keeping their head steady and fixated on the mixer, whether it was looking at the pads or in your case, you're saying you're looking at the fader. It's important to be able to use your eyes and see where you're putting the mark. Now, technically, there's going to come a point where your eyes won't matter and you'll be able to do it blindfolded, right? And it'll be feel. But for now, use your eyes. Like, your eyes are there. You might as well allow them to help you.
Absolutely, yeah. Right? Yeah.
Awesome, man. All right, well, we know what the chase sounds like on Steezo. How about we start experimenting with other songs? So how about let's try it with full clip and see what happens.
Full clip. Biceps. Let's go. Good shit.